Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here on Eat Sleep Reef. In this week's video, what we're going to be covering is kind of how to catch a fish or a few fish in your reef that you don't want in there anymore for whatever reason, whether you're trying to decrease your bioload, they're picking on other fish, they got something up with them, whatever the case is. And this week I'm going to kind of show you guys what I went ahead and purchased. So this is the Seaside Aquatics, I believe, fish trap. This is a medium size. They had a small, medium, and large. It was a little bit big. Actually, it was quite big. But later I came to find out that, and I'll kind of let you guys know what I mean by that. It was a lot better actually going with a bigger fish trap. So believe it or not, in true Eat Sleep Reef fashion, I actually went ahead and tried a DIY trap with a bottle. That kind of had its little mishaps. One thing I found out with those, they're so small that they kind of scare the fish a lot more because they're really confined. If ever the fish does go in, it almost panics immediately. And I found with this one, the fish is able to swim in there, grab the food, and still not, feel confined. So one thing before you do start assembly this, it does come with a manual. Be sure you look at the pictures, look at the diagram. They do have a right and left side. They kind of are directional. So just pay attention to it. You can see me here doing a dry fit. As you can see, I'm assembling it wrong because the cutout on the very top is for the feeder. That's supposed to be on the opposite side of the door. Here, the way I'm assembling it now is not the way it should be, but quickly I figure that out. One thing you're also going to notice is the acrylic, it may not be crystal clear. That's because it has a protective film on both sides of it, so you will have to remove that. Removing it, guys, it's not that easy. I actually used a razor blade on the very, very edge of the acrylic to start peeling it up. Once I got it started, I was able to peel it back with my fingernail, and after that, it was very simple. But like I said, here I'm just dry fitting everything, making sure it's nice and dandy. I didn't want to scratch up the acrylic. So that's why you see me not removing it yet. But believe it or not, the best part of assembling this thing is actually removing that protective film. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know if I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have had like a computer screen or just any type of screen where you have to remove the film. I mean, there's just some joy about removing that. It's great. One thing about this trap, you're going to notice it is collapsible. So once you build it, it's held on by rubber bands. Not rubber bands, I would call them O-rings. Anyways, it's held on with O-rings. Luckily, they give you quite a few of them. When I went ahead and assembled it, I actually didn't use all the O-rings. I just used a few of them because I didn't feel it needed them. But yeah, it's very simple to assemble. It's adjustable. One thing I did notice about this trap, the actual where it hangs onto your tank, it'll also handle a Euro brace. So there is two ways to do it. You can do it on a standard rim tank, and then you can also do it for Euro brace. It's just a matter of how you assemble it. But very smart of them. Another thing I had noticed that I didn't know was included with this one, it actually comes with suction cups. So if for any reason you don't want to use the included mounts to either hang it on your tank or grab onto the Euro brace, you can just use a standard suction cups, and those will work great. Now I had read, actually I saw a video originally saying someone just didn't really like the way the trap worked, the way it was actuated, so on and so forth. Believe it or not, guys, I tried it. It worked like a charm each and every time. I don't have any complaints about it. I loved it. So that's really all I can talk about. One thing I did like about this trap, and kind of going back to what I had mentioned, the DIY ones I would just have issues because they were so small, and you'd notice the fish were very iffy about it. Even if they would go in the trap, they'd immediately start running out. And sometimes they would get stuck inside, and then that would just cause for a bad experience overall, so they would pretty much never come close to it. One thing I did like about going with this trap, even though it was really big for my tank versus a small, again, back to the same theory, it allows a fish to swim inside, get out, come back out without feeling too confined, and it lets them get very comfortable. I'm not even kidding you guys, within the first probably 30 to 40 seconds, I caught my first one. I was after the chromis and took it, ran it over to my neighbor's house, and he's enjoying it. The second fish I went ahead to do, and that one I wasn't able to record, was going to be the yellow. It's like a yellow damsel with a black spot, yellow and like white on it. I forget the exact name of it. But I was removing those, and you guys may be saying, so why in the heck are you removing the fish? Well, believe it or not, guys, but this reef tank has 11 fish in there. It's really overkill. I always notice I have issues maintaining low phosphates, and it really boils down to just an excess of fish. I would never recommend anyone adding that many fish in a tank this small. But again, it comes with its consequences, and slowly I'm going to start bringing down the bioload. Ideally, if I could, I'd love to have 3 to 4 fish in this tank, just to keep the bioload low, not have to overfeed too much. So we'll see how that goes. Again, that's gonna mean me having to thin out the herd and let go of some fish. So we'll see if I'm able to do that. Other than that, guys, it's very straightforward. One thing you are going to notice on the trap, it does have kind of a feeder tube that sits on the top, and it's adjustable with an O-ring. At the beginning, I kind of didn't like it when I saw it, but then once I put it into play, I loved this feeder tube. It doesn't allow, I think it works better with flakes and pellets, because it won't allow the big flakes to go through the small cutouts on the bottom. That was just, great. It didn't release all the food in there. I did have to turn off some flow in my tank because, again, I didn't want the food blowing out of it. I would notice the trap would kind of create a low pressure, so the food would actually come close to the door, but it wouldn't get out of the door. That's one thing I really like. The food tend to always stay inside. I would actually use a turkey baster to spray flow from the very top of the feeder, and that would again start the food circulating. The fish would actually smell it and see it, and they'd start going nuts for it. I think that's one of the main reasons I had success very early on with this fish trap. Let's see, what other pointers? I think other than that, it's very straightforward. As far as the trap goes, it's very simple. They do provide you with some fishing line. You're able to pretty much set up the trap. As soon as the fish goes in there, you pull the string and bam, it's really that simple. So I'm trying to see if there's anything I didn't cover. Kind of the takeaways here. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, I can make my own fish trap. And yeah, believe me, you absolutely can. But I think there's a reason that companies have gone out of the way and marketed these and sold these fish traps. It's just because they work. In my opinion, they're a lot better than, again, your DIY one, just because those are so small, so confined. So if you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence about it, they may not be the cheapest. I think this one was $40-$50. But you can always save it. You can let your buddies borrow it. I think it's really good to have. Really good to have in your arsenal, especially if you have quite a bit of fish in your tank. It never hurts to have one. The fact that it is collapsible, you're able to tear it down as soon as you're done and pretty much store it away. So I think we're going to wrap this video up here, everyone. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns down below. I'd love to hear what methods you guys use to get obnoxious fish out of your not fish tank, reef tank. I guess we could call it a fish tank. Let me know down below. I'd love to hear what methods you use, or maybe your own DIY one. Let me know what you have used that actually has worked to get that fish you just don't want in your tank out. So we're going to leave this video here. I thank you very much for watching. As always, happy reefing.